Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Max Fantasy 4, and it's Tuesday. It's time for another Tuesday Talks. Before we get to that, please always remember to drop a like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, all that jazz, all that fun stuff us YouTubers tell you guys to do. And with that, let's talk about this week's topic. So, World of Warcraft Shadowlands was announced 2 weeks ago. What? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I believe. Yep, I already pre-purchased it, of course, because it's World of Warcraft. But that means it's time to rank all the expansions that came before it. All of them, because why not? There's 7 of them. It might as well rank them, we're on YouTube. We rank stuff. That's what we do. And with Shadowlands coming out, we got to see where World of Warcraft has come from and what Shadowlands has to go up against to find its spot in the ranking. So, without further ado, let's rank these. And yes, these are in a specific order. Unlike my favorite games list, unlike my favorite franchise list, these are in a specific order because I am ranking them. It's going from 7 to 1. We are starting with the worst and going to the best. So, let's do that. So first off, the worst expansion, in my opinion, remember, these are all my opinions. Now, you can have different opinions, and if you do, put your ranking in the comment section so that I can compare and contrast. That's all it's about. Don't yell at me if my opinion's different from yours. That just happens. People with different opinions. They do. We do. The worst expansion, in my opinion, my opinion, would have to be Warlords of Draenor. All right? Even Blizzard thinks that it was probably a failed expansion, okay? Because they axed a big part of the final update. They quickly moved to the next expansion because it was just it didn't work, okay? It didn't work. It didn't feel like an MMO at this point, okay? It felt like a single player game. Now, Draenor, going in the past and looking at Draenor was really cool. I really liked Draenor. Looked really nice, okay? It did. It's beautiful, beautifully done, beautifully created, and it makes you want to go there, okay? It's a nice place to be in. But other than that, it was meh, okay? They had the first attempt at player housing. They have not attempted it again, but the garrisons are kind of like a player housing system. And originally, we were supposed to be able to pick where we wanted to be, but that was cut, and it ended up just being in Frostfire Ridge, or I think Shadow Moon Valley for the Alliance. Originally, you could pick and choose where you wanted to go, but that changed, and the garrisons felt like they felt like you were shut off from everybody else because you couldn't see anybody else. Okay, the only time you could see people was going out the door, and when you went out the door, that's when you were met with the Blinktrons because everybody was just plopping them there right at the door, but nobody could see you inside. It isolated you from each other, making it seem like a small little game with not much outside communication. And there was a humongous lack of updates with that too. There was humongous space between the updates and just a lack of updates for Warlords of Draenor that it didn't give us much to do. We sat in our garrisons and did mission tables over mission table over mission table, and they released a shipyard, which was more mission tables, and Tanaan Jungle was an end level zone that was just, it was fine. You just farmed up Hexus crystals, and it was not an amazing experience, okay? But Draenor itself looked cool. It did. It did. It looked really nice. Now, the art team is amazing at what they do, and a lot of times they do it a lot better than the gameplay department does. And this was an example because Warlords it wasn't there. All right, it wasn't, and it was the first time they offered level boost too, so that was some people weren't very happy about that, and it just, with time, it hasn't gotten better, and people aren't really going to choose to level through this in Shadowlands. So, it's just, the garrisons were a good idea, but it's crap. And the mission table wasn't very good. It wasn't very good because it just wasn't. The story was there, the lore was there, but the gameplay wasn't. Then, right after that, in this ranking, comes Cataclysm. Now, Cataclysm set out to revamp World of Warcraft, and it did that. It revamped all of the old classic zones into this new levels, new look, new everything, but it destroyed a lot of what we loved. It made like 1,000 Needles, a water map, and but it was very ambitious, and it did not meet that ambition. Okay, Deathwing came out to wreak havoc, and that he did. He destroyed the World of Warcraft. He destroyed Azeroth. Everything was destroyed and damaged. Well, at least the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor were damaged. Northrend was fine. But everything else was damaged. And it revamped the entire leveling zone questing experience. But other than that, there wasn't much end game content. It just didn't live up to it, okay? For one, the Deathwing boss fight was very, very lacking. You sat on his spine and you hit little whips. I mean, granted, it would be really hard to do a battle with Deathwing, but what they did was just, it wasn't good. And they had very few high level zones, and they just felt unconnected, disjointed. There just wasn't a lot of coherence between them, and it just the quests were improved. The quest system was made much better, and World of Warcraft felt nicely refreshed, and it felt like, oh my god, this is new and amazing. But it hasn't aged well, and the end game content was just lacking. And Deathwing's fight was very disappointing. I was disappointed. Many people were disappointed, and it was just disappointing. Okay, it really was. And now when you look back, when you're leveling now, you know, they refer to Deathwing when Deathwing happened years ago, and like it's just it's made the game disjointed. But you know, it was ambitious. They're probably never going to attempt another revamp like that, even though I want them to. But yeah, you know. Then following that is the Burning Crusade. Now this is World of Warcraft's first expansion, so it wasn't going to set a huge bar because it was their first attempt at an expansion. It wasn't going to blow us away. Now it introduced my favorite race to the game, the Blood Elves, which I love the Blood Elves. I really do. And the Draenei. I don't really play the Draenei, but you know, Burning Crusade, again, it's the first expansion, so you can't really get mad at it. They introduced flying, which was people love flying, so people are flying all over the place. But Outland really sucked. It did. It really sucked. No one's gonna choose to level in Outland because Hellfire Peninsula sucked. It did. Now flying helped, but yeah, it sucked. Now Nagrand and Terakar Forest were nice. They were nice, but Hellfire Peninsula. So the Burning Crusade leveling wasn't very good, but it was the first expansion, and it introduced the first new world, which was cool, and it introduced the Blood Elves and stuff. It had a lot more content than Cataclysm did, and it didn't feel as... It wasn't a single-player game like it was in Warlords. So that's why it's higher than those two. But again, it wasn't all there. Now, I mean, it's the first expansion, so cut them some slack there. But it definitely was... It's not the best expansion. It's pretty average, pretty meh. It's not bad, but it's meh. And Outland sucks. Okay, Outland sucks as a leveling zone. Following that has got to be Battle for Azeroth, the current expansion. Now I'm only counting it up until 8.2 because 8.3 is not released yet. It's on the PTR, so I've got a little bit of an idea of where that's headed. But we've only in live been able to experience up until 8.2. So from there, that's what we're gonna grade it from there. And Battle for Azeroth, I've enjoyed it. It's not the best expansion. Okay, it's nowhere near the best expansion because a lot of it is just not good. Okay, Zandalar and Kultiris are beautiful zones. They're beautiful. They really are. But the whole plot line is just kind of meh. It's a little meh because, I mean, we've defeated the Legion and now we're fighting again. Okay, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I wanted an actual battle for Azeroth instead of like a battle for 2 cities, and then it was just done. And the war fronts, they were a cool idea. It introduced a really cool, interesting concept in the war fronts, but the war fronts were a failed project. They really were. There were only 2 of them in the game, and they're just not good. Now, Island expeditions are more fun, but again, they're just they're fine. They're fine. And the Heart of Azeroth system really sucks. Okay, it really does. Essences and all that. It sucks. But the world, Kultiris and Zandalar are beautiful. Nazjatar and Mechagon are beautiful also. And Nazjatar and Mechagon are fun zones to level, and they really are. I mean, well, you're not leveling them, but endgame content. The endgame content is great. And the raids have been great, okay? The Battle for Dazar'alor was a amazingly great concept. Now, it's up to you if it worked or not. You know, I personally think it did. I think I enjoy it, but if you don't enjoy it, that's your opinion. But I think it was great. It was a great idea, and it's been an interesting. It's been a very divisive expansion. The lore has been all over the place, but the places are beautiful, and the endgame leveling zones are great endgame leveling zones. So, you know, it's not the worst expansion, and it's been a pretty fun. I mean, big things happened. Like, we lost Undercity. That was sad. That was really sad. And Teldrassil was burned to the ground. That was sad too. The expansion, mid-expansion, having us be outside the gates of Orgrimmar again. Honestly, why? They should just make Orgrimmar more protective, because this is the second expansion that we've been like sieging it. Kind of dumb. Yeah, kind of dumb. But it's been a ride. Well, 8.3 looks like it's gonna be a good time. Okay, it is. I mean, 8.2 was a good time. Nazjatar and Mechagon are a good time. It's just the rest of Battle for Azeroth. It's been fine. Mission table is massively improved. The Heart of Azeroth sucks. Okay, it just does. And the allied races were a cool idea, and I understand the rep grind. So that's why Battle for Azeroth is not the worst, because it did introduce a lot of fun stuff. And following up on that is Mists of Pandaria. Now, Mists of Pandaria, if you don't like pandas, you're gonna hate the expansion. Okay, it's filled with pandas, but Pandaria is it's a beautiful continent. Like, really, it is. Like, I could live there. And introducing the Pandaren, they're fun. They're fun people, and it's such a more laid back expansion. Until the final raid stuff, it wasn't world ending threats or anything. It was just living on Pandaria. Okay, chilling with some pandas. The questing was great. Pandaria was beautiful. The endgame was fun. And it told an interesting and climactic story of factional warfare on this island. And it made sense. And Garrosh going crazy and ruining Veil of Eternal Blossoms, that sucked. But it's coming back in 8.3. It's coming back. So, we're good. We're good. Seriously, it's probably one of the most chill expansions. It's a great zones to level in. I am going to be going and leveling in it during Shadowlands, because who doesn't want to level in frickin' Pandaria? Okay, it's frickin' Pandaria. And the Pandarans are beautiful. I got a 120 monk, Pandaren monk. Okay, the monks are a great time. Pandas are a great time. Okay. It was seriously it's one of the most underrated expansions. A lot of people hate it for some reason, because they're like, oh my god, it's pandas, cute fluffy pandas and crap, and it's just a Chinese market ploy. But it's such a fun expansion. It's such a beautiful expansion. And if you have not played through Pandaria at least once, you're missing out. You really are. The second best has got to be Wrathful Lich King. I'm sorry. I know it's not the best. I know it's not. I'm sorry. I know I didn't rank it the best. Please don't. Sure. Wrathful Lich King. It was a good expansion. It's a very close second. But it was, the story was great. Okay. The climactic ending to the narrative arc of Arthas was great. Northrend is very snowy in a much better zone to level than frickin' Outland was. Okay, Outland was a train wreck. The Death Knights, the first hero class, was pretty great. It was done well. The intro, well, like the whole starting zone they had was done really well, and it was just, they were great. And Arthas was just a freaking badass. Okay, Arthas is freaking Arthas. They also introduced technologies like phasing, which allows Blizzard to tell stories through quests by dynamically changing the world without impacting every player. Like, you know, like an example of nowadays is like a Nazjatar going forward, and eventually you have a little flight point in front of the raid. So like, it's stuff like that where like the world changes for you and you're just phased into the next instance of the world. It's very cool. It's very cool. And Wrath also toyed with the raid difficult idea, making them more accessible to casual players. And it was just it was a good expansion. Okay, it was really good. Northrend was beautiful. And like raids like Ulduar is considered one of some people's favorite raids. And the quests were fun and varied, and PvP was very competitive. It actually existed. People actually did PvP. Wrath of the Lich King was a great time. Okay, Arthas was great villain. It's gonna be a hard time in Shadowlands to choose if I level in Northrend, Pandaria, or my final expansion. Now, to me personally, I think the best World of Warcraft expansion is Legion. I really do. The Broken Isles and Argus are great zones. They really are. The endgame zone of Suramar was probably one of my favorite zones because you would do quests for them every day and it would dynamically change, and you'd like do a bunch of quests and then come back and the tree in the sanctuary place would be growing and they would seem healthier, and it was just I have so many good memories. The class order halls, seriously, giving classes their identities back, having those order halls with class specific storylines to follow that would unlock exclusive mounts and crap. That was amazing. Okay, the artifact weapons, wielding ancient artifacts, was great. Okay, Dalaran back at it again. Nami burning all of our food. It was a great expansion, and it also was the first one to introduce world quests, which I enjoy. Really enjoy world quests, and the whole scaling. It brought level scaling to the world, and you could choose whatever zone you wanted to level in first, and you could go from one to the other if you wanted to. It was up to you. And it was just the story, bringing back frickin' Illidan, having him go toe to toe with the Legion once again. The climactic battle against the Burning Legion, having it all end with our Azeroth getting stabbed, which you thought would lead into an amazing next expansion, but it didn't. But Legion was a great expansion. Okay, the Broken Isles are beautiful. Suramar was wonderfully done. It nailed everything that it needed to do. Blizzard, it was a humongous step up from Warlords. Blizzard won people back with this expansion. It pulled out every single stop. Okay, the demons, the Burning Legion, Sargeras running around with Lightbringer and crap. Like, it was genius. And the Mythic Plus system, which was introduced with the weekly chess thing, it was never a dull moment. I was never bored playing Legion. Okay, like I have been bored playing Battle for Azeroth in every expansion before that. I was never bored playing Legion. Okay, there was a big heavy reliance on RNG that people didn't like very much, but you gotta live with that. It's an MMO. How else are they gonna keep coming back? It was a real grind, but it was amazing. Okay, and the class order halls were just. I love Legion a lot. Okay, I do. So, yeah. So the definitive ranking for me, my personal opinion ranking, all the expansion from last place to first place is Warlords of Draenor, Cataclysm, The Burning Crusade, Battle for Azeroth, Mists of Pandaria, Wrath of the Lich King, and then finally Legion. And I'm really looking forward to see where Shadowlands lands in all this. Okay, I'm really excited. Again, the problem is I have the same feeling when Warlords was announced that I have with Shadowlands, where there's a lack of content. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll all pan out for the good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, as always, remember to drop a like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, all that jazz, all that fun stuff us YouTubers tell you guys to do. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I upload most on Twitter, sometimes on Facebook, barely ever on Instagram. Follow me and all there. And subscribe to me here, like this video, tell your friends, all that jazz, all the fun stuff us YouTubers tell you guys to do. And with that, I hope to see you in the next video.